The American Cowboy. He's a folk hero, half real, half mythological, tall in the saddle and alone. He faces danger head on. He's one man against nature and the outlaws. His image is almost always depicted as a man wearing a wide-brimmed hat, boots, gun belt, and sitting on a horse. For many, he represents the true spirit of America. The cowboy was a horseman skilled at handling cattle, an indispensable laborer in the cattle industry of the trans-Mississippi West, and a romantic figure in American folklore. The American cowboy drove as many as 2,000 cattle hundreds of miles to market, enduring lightning, storms, drought, stampedes, rattlesnakes, Indians, and outlaws. They slept under the stars and ate chow at the chuck wagon. The movie and TV cowboys dressed for effect, but in reality, the cowboys dressed with a purpose. The high-crowned, wide, floppy-rimmed hat protected them from the sun's glare. It could be used as a watering cup and as a pillow when folded. The handkerchief around his neck could be used to protect him from dust. The vest had many pockets to hold cherished stuff. His boots usually had 2-inch heels to help his feet better rest in the stirrups or to help dig into the ground while roping a calf. The chaps proved quite useful when chasing wayward steers through thorny musket. A bridle, lariat, a well-balanced six-shooter, and a stock saddle completed the cowboy's outfit. The American cowboy is a mixture of Anglo and Hispanic culture and began in Texas during the days of Texas Republic and the spread of the trail herds. During that period, cattle grew wild and had many natural enemies. Texans gathered up the cattle and searched for better grass, fewer Indians, farmers, and outlaws. Prior to the invention of barbed wire, there was no practical way of containing cattle within the boundaries. So Texan cowmen established and maintained line camps along the borders. Their job was to keep the boss's cattle in, foreign cattle out, and keep them safe from harmful environmental elements. A cowhand had to be a good rider, a good roper, and knowledgeable in raising of cattle. Occasionally, the cowboy did blacksmithing, doctor cattle, fight fires, and stave off rustlers. By the end of the Civil War, there were an estimated 5 million cattle. With the advent of railroads came new trails to intercept them. Towns such as Abilene, Wichita, Ellsworth, and Dodge City enjoyed brief glory days of prosperity and endured the violence that came with it. By 1886, the open-range cattle business had made its way to Colorado, Idaho, Arizona, and California. The American cowboy was a diverse group of individuals. About 1/3 were African Americans. Many, such as Nat Love, moved massive herds of cattle. Nat Love drank with Billy the Kid and helped defend against the Indians. Bass Reeves was a legend in the American West. He was born to slave parents and was the first U.S. Deputy Marshal west of the Mississippi River. Bass Reeves was one of the greatest Old West heroes. Women could hold their own in the Wild West, too. For example, Belle Starr was part of the Jesse James Cole Younger gang. Martha Jane Canary, otherwise known as Calamity Jane, was a friend of Wild Bill Hickok and was known for Indian fighting. The era of the open range and the great cattle drives lasted only about 20 years, from 1866 to 1886. The dry summer of 1886 and the terrible winters of 1886 and 87 virtually destroyed the cattle industry. The radio program and the television show Gunsmoke, which lasted from 1952 to 1975, lasted longer than the golden age of the cowboy. Here's some cowboy trivia. The Colt 6-shooter became the official handgun of the Texas Ranger in 1847. The first cattle drive from Texas using the Chisholm Trail arrived at Abilene, Kansas in 1867. Joseph Glidden from DeKalb, Illinois, by the way, received a patent for his barbed wire invention in 1874. In 1883, the Alamo was purchased from the Catholic Church to preserve it as an historic shrine. That same year, 1884, Buffalo Bill Cody staged his first Wild West show at the Omaha Fairgrounds. The lone cowboy is an American myth. Cattle were always driven by a group of drovers, and they were mostly young men who needed cash. The average cowboy in the West made about $25 to $40 a month. Their workday lasted 14 to 15 hours. Much of it was spent in the saddle.